This is my game against E.Brink in the Australian Corespondence Championship. I was white. E4, C5, knight out, pawn up. So yeah, a lot of the players started this way. They're probably aiming to get dragons or nut-offs. So I play my own King William variation. Knight out, castle, knight out, queen up, bishop pins the knight. Pawn stops the knight getting into d4. Pawn comes up, pawn moves up. Black gets ready to expand on the queen side, pawn to b5. Bishop retreats, anticipating the attack. Bishop develops, knight moves, castles. h3 hitting the bishop. Bishop goes back. Rook e1 as played against Megia, though in the immediate g4 may have been better. Black connects the rooks, knight goes back. d5. Bishop moves to anticipate pawn to c4. So the bishop was getting stymied on this where it was biting granite. It may have more potential down this diagonal once these pawns have moved out of the way. Knight to e5, g4, knight takes knight, queen takes knight, pawn takes pawn. Might be an error because white is gaining more space out of that. Pawn takes pawn. But I can see what his idea was. The idea was now this pawn is pinned, so white can no longer play e5 because I'll lose my bishop. Whereas if he hadn't exchanged pawns, that wasn't possible. Now, queen retreats, so I'm getting ready to move the f-pawn. So e5, a natural move, but I think a mistake, because it seriously weakens this square, and to a lesser extent this square. This bishop's well and truly blocked in. Now, the question is, what is the best square for this bishop? Now, the best square on the board, if you could just drop it anywhere, is here, provided the knight has moved away. Here it's on an outpost, it's defended by a pawn, hits down the line towards the king and down here. So that is the best square for the bishop, and believe it or not, the bishop eventually gets there. Pawn goes up, threatening to trap the bishop. h6, necessary but weakens the king side. I mean h5 maybe is possible, maybe not, as it will eventually lose the h-pawn. Knight comes forward towards the king, rook moves to the centre. Knight goes to a strong square. The bishop retreats, defending squares. Now, here's my big chance. The bishop seizes the other diagonal because black can no longer play c4. Rook threatens pawn to c4, blocking the bishop. White drives away the knight. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. The h-file has been opened, which is very dangerous for black. White can get two rooks or a rook and queen. That will lead to a dangerous attack. Knight retreats. Knights dim on the rim. Knights need to be in the zone, in the 16 squares in the centre of the board. Bishop seizes the strong square, the strongest square on the board. So white's got the bishop on the outpost, and with the extra space on the king side, it's easier for white to utilise the h-file. Bishop moves, hitting the pawn. Knight retreats, attacking the bishop as the bishop pins the pawn to the king. This bishop's attacked. Queen defends bishop. Queen defends pawn on g5. That's that one. Moves up. So it's very hard for black to do much here. So black's a bit passive, whereas white can build up on the h-file. Okay, so I defended the bishop, connecting the rooks. Okay, wasn't too fussed about queen takes a2 for some b2 for some reason. a5. King moves up, allowing the rook to come across. Rook moves across. Rook defends the bishop. I was concerned he may sack the rook for the bishop. I'd be the exchange up, but that might prolong the game, which he didn't do, so he gains space on the queen side. Rook to the h-file. Queen goes over. It's very hard for black to do anything against this simple plan, so he's saying white's basically nearly 2 pawns up. Knight takes bishop. And black resigned. So, if queen takes, I think I may have even off this as conditional move, rook takes knight. And say black takes it, and the rook goes over. And basically, it's basically winning. So that's the idea. So, yeah, so domination of the H file controlled by the bishop on the strong D5 square. Okay, so thank you for watching.